Well, hello, Oasis family. I hope that you all are well. I am super excited to be back. I'm excited and I'm sad at the same time to be back with y'all today because I'm sad because today is the very last live segment in the Jumpstart Your Journey to Mental Wellness series. And so I'm super sad because I feel like when I first started, I was just like, oh my goodness, 6 weeks. Like, that's a whole lot of time, right? And then here we are at week 6 and we are wrapping up the journey. And so it's been good. I don't know who has been able to tune in over the last 6 weeks. If you've caught any of the replays on YouTube, the conversation has been hearty. I guess that's the word I want to use. The conversation has been hearty. We started off by talking about jumpstarting your journey and trauma with Emily Rodriguez. Actually, I started off the first week by laying foundation. Then the second week, we had Emily Rodriguez and we talked about trauma. Then that third week, I brought on my brother friend and we talked about emotional intelligence as it pertains to jumpstarting your journey. Then I had Shanae Frazier come on and we talked about the depression journey and her journey with bipolar depression. And then last week was so good, y'all. Last week was so good. I talked with Achille Dejan and we talked about jumpstarting your journey in manhood. This is what I want to encourage any ladies out there. If you are a lady, whether you are a mother, whether you are a wife, I encourage you to go back and watch that live because it was so hearty in helping us, even as women, learning how to do this journey and help the men in our life to navigate. So make sure you catch it. But I'm super excited tonight because I have my team joining us. First of all, y'all, I got the team. Can we give God some praise right there? We're going to stop right there. Y'all don't even know. Y'all probably wondering why I'm excited. Listen, when you have a team, and not just any team, when you have a good team, I deeply, deeply, deeply trust these ladies, and I appreciate them so much. So I'm excited to have them to jump on tonight. But before we bring them on, y'all know the drill. I need you to go, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, I need you to go and share this live right now. Matter of fact, share the live and begin tagging people in the comments. Make sure that they jump on tonight to be a part of this conversation. I also want to let y'all know we're going to be taking questions. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat. We're going to try to get through as many of the questions as we can possibly get to. But come on, y'all. I'm going to give y'all about 10 seconds. Go ahead and start sharing. Go ahead and start tagging. I'm just going to change my light, y'all, because I thought I looked a little bit ghosty earlier. Now I'm feeling real ghosty. Y'all know the struggles when you try and do a live or something like that or whatever. It's okay. We all family here. So ain't no shame in my game. Go ahead, start sharing, start tagging people, and I'm about to bring on the Oasis team. So the first person I'm going to introduce is, her name is Ambrial. I was about to say Smith. Her name is no longer Smith. Her name is Ambrial Ugoji. Me and Ambrial had the opportunity of working together at Mastery Molina Elementary School, and we developed just an amazing relationship. And for some crazy reason, she decided that she was going to jump on and be a part of my team, like for some crazy reason. So I'm super excited to have her. And the second person I will be bringing on, introducing, is none other than the Sylvie Saintus-Osias, who just got her LCSW. I'm saying all of this before they get on, right? Because I want to brag on them before they jump on and they can downplay it. But she just got her LCSW. She's on her way to being a doctor. I'm super proud of her. Me and Sylvie actually went to school together, and she was my choir director in college. And we just connected all these years later. Another phenomenal woman, amazing woman. So I'm super excited to have them on. So what I need y'all to do, as I bring them into the stream, I need you to drop some hearts. I need you to drop some likes. I need you to drop some hand claps in the comments and all of that as y'all are inviting people in. And so we got Ambrial and we got Sylvie. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello. Good. Doing good.
Super excited to have y'all here with me tonight. See, this light is messing with me, so now I'm far away, but whatever. I am super excited to have y'all here tonight with me. So thank you for everything, right? I'm not going to get mushy because we're on live. But I just want to thank you for being here tonight. And so I'm super excited. So go ahead, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know what you do, not just in the context of Oasis, because they got businesses, y'all. They out here doing stuff. Because listen, if you in my circle, if you running with me, you gonna do something, okay? Like we all getting a destiny, all right? And so they have businesses and heart passions that they're doing. So Ambrial, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know what you do outside of Oasis. Let them know what your counseling specialties are and all of that good stuff.
Okay, so hi everybody. Good evening. My name is Ambrial. My specialty when it comes to therapy are women, teens, pregnant women. And outside of Oasis, I am a certified labor doula, working towards being a certified full spectrum doula. So I'll also be able to do postpartum, childbirth education, and things like that. Yeah, that's me.
Come on, certified labor doula. Come on, y'all. I need some claps in the comments or something like that, or whatever the case is. You've been working towards it and achieved the goal. So super proud of you. Thank you. And Miss Sylvie, tell the people about you.
My name is Sylvie. Like Chanel says, I'm a licensed clinical social worker now. On my way to earning my doctorate in social work as well. Yeah, so excited about that. Mom of four, on the Oasis team as a therapist. I have a faith-based T-shirt business. We just relaunched a new brand for my worship pastor Jovita Shepherd, and I'm currently working on a coaching program for Kingdom moms who wants to take their gifts and package it to turn into a business. So that's what I'm doing now. Yeah, that's all.
Awesome. So listen, as y'all can see, I am bringing y'all quality folk, okay? Like quality people out here doing something, but more than anything, people who are invested in this message of mental health. Mental health is what I do. It is where I'm invested in. And so to have people who have just as much investment in that or whatever, even though they're diverse, like they're multifaceted, right? So we're about to be a doctor. We're about to have a doctor on the team, y'all, like a doctor. Dr. Sylvie, okay? And make sure you embrace her as such. But anyway, we're not going to get into all of that tonight. I'm just trying to give y'all time to make sure that y'all are sharing and y'all tagging people in the comments to make sure that they hop on tonight, because we're going to have some candid conversation. Like I said, over the last few weeks, and so I'm not sure how many of the conversations y'all were able to catch, or y'all know what topics we talked about. We talked about trauma. We talked about depression. We talked about manhood. What else we talked about? We just talked about foundationally setting the foundation of jumpstarting your journey to mental wellness. We also talked about emotional intelligence, right? Because most people don't realize you have an IQ, but you also have an EQ. And where you are as far as your mental health and wellness will determine what your EQ is. So we talked about all of those topics, and in relation and respect to everything that we've been through over the last 20 months now. I think it's been 20 months. Like if y'all can believe that, since the pandemic started, it's been about 20 months. Wow. So as a mental health professional, right, over the last year or so, right, y'all been in the thick of it. Y'all been doing this work, whether it's outside agencies, whether it's with Oasis, over the last year and a half. What have you seen? What have you heard? What trends have popped up as it pertains to mental health? And anybody can go in any order.
Well, I'll say that, since the shutdown, since the quarantine, we've been like in the house a lot. And so a lot of us have been using social media to like talk to people, to like engage and connect. And one thing that I've noticed from like a mental health perspective is that a lot of people are diagnosing themselves from memes and also taking mental health advice from memes who were created from anybody. Like they have no clue who created this thing. It's just somebody who had a thought and they were like, "Ooh, this sounds good," and they made a meme. And so people are just like, "Oh, that's what depression is. Oh, I must be depressed. Oh, that's what anxiety is. Oh, I am anxious, or I have anxiety," and they just diagnose themselves and they walk around like claiming these things that they have no clue what it actually is. And so they're either like making excuses for themselves, making excuses for others, just claiming something that isn't true, doing everything but actually seeking professional help because they feel like, "Oh, I get it. I've read enough about it, and the research is just social media."
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You just said a mouthful. You literally have just said a mouthful. I was saying in church on Sunday that there's a whole generation that's living their life off of memes. There is
Social
a
media.
whole generation, y'all, that is living their life off of memes. And you're so right. And unfortunately, memes give you a snippet of information that somebody copied and pasted off the internet, and it is not giving you the full story. And this is a huge problem. This is a huge issue, right? That Dr. Google, right? I remember when I was sick, when I went through my little bout, like I swore Google, like it got to a point where my doctors were like, stay off of Google, because I had brain cancer, I had thyroid cancer, I had
Listen,
and prostate cancer, right?
and your elbow was about to fall off.
But no, seriously, all of that. And then what happens is what I'm seeing is, and especially working like with children and teens, what I see is they get this information and then start to act as if without professional information, right? That self-diagnosing is a huge issue. And a part of the jumpstarting your journey to mental wellness, we definitely have to make sure that we are sitting before the right people with the right credentials.
Right.
Now, I'm not gonna jump into that conversation tonight, but not everybody the right credentials, y'all. I'm gonna leave that right there. We'll see if we'll come back. We'll see if that come back around. We'll see if that comes back around. But that is so true. A definite trend is looking at social media to tell me what's going on with me rather than seeking help. The danger and the fallacy of that is that if I look at social media to tell me what's wrong with me, then that probably means that I'm looking at social media to tell me how to make it better. And that information is just as misinformed and just as wrong as the information that you had to begin with of whatever is going on with me. So that is definitely something great to point out. Sylvie, what do you have to, where have you noticed?
Well, same thing that Ambrial said, but I guess I saw it like the other way. Like what Ambrial said is absolutely true. Just self-diagnosing, TikTok is a new Google, you get what I'm saying? Like things like that. But I guess my perspective when I was thinking about it was that at least we're talking about it now, right? Like mental health before was so taboo. It's so shame-based. You get what I'm saying? They didn't want to talk about depression. You can't say you're anxious. Trauma, forget about it. We're not even touching that. That don't even exist. You get what I'm saying? It's put it in a box, lock it up with the key, throw the key away. This never happened. So when I was thinking about, you asking that question, I was like, well, in the last 2 years, essentially, we're talking about it. Like that's like the main thing that I've been seeing, like this trend with mental health. Like it's yes, there's still shame about it, but we're trying to take away the stigma, break the stigma when it comes to mental health. That people are like we have to like I'm grateful that like even though it's not all the way good that people are self-diagnosing, but they're self-diagnosing. You get what I'm saying? Like we're getting somewhere. People are not like too shameful to say, hey, I have an issue. Oh my God, I may be depressed.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So when we're talking about jumpstarting our journey to mental wellness, we're at least start with, not being in denial anymore and accepting the fact that something is actually wrong.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the key part right there. The key part right there is the not necessarily the self-diagnosing, but now there's an acknowledgement that something like I'm not okay. Right. There's an acknowledgement that I'm not okay. And I will say, I think we still have a lot of ways to go as it pertains to mental health, but man, so I often have a hard time saying this, right? The pandemic was the worst thing and the best thing to ever happen to us all at the same time. It was the worst thing and it was the best thing, particularly as it pertains to mental health. Like I can probably think of a million other areas where that applies too. But in mental health, it was the worst thing and was the best thing. Because on one hand, we were forced into this place of isolation, right? We were forced into a place of, it was cute because they called it social distancing. That was a cute way of saying it. But it was isolation. And, and we know as mental health professionals, isolation is like the number one sign that something is not wrong, that something is wrong with people, right? And so now we're forcing people into that place, right? But on the other hand, when I say I could not keep up with the amount of people, and even still to this day, that are reaching out, that are seeking counseling services, it has been phenomenal. It has been phenomenal, the amount of people who are now standing up. And you know what? I'm going to take it a step further and say, I'm going to say the amount of Black people Let's keep it all the way real. The amount of Black people that are talking about it, the amount of Black people that are acknowledging it, the amount of Black people that are now standing up and saying, you know what, I don't know what that stigma stuff was about or that shame that was passed down or whatever, but I'm going to stand up and I'm going to start I'm going to start with me and I'm going to get therapy. And the one thing I will say, because sometimes I be downing on this generation, I love y'all. I love y'all for real. But the one thing I will say is that this generation is not afraid to say, my therapist said, and I love it. I love it. You know, they're not afraid to have those conversations. So that is a definite important aspect. Like we're talking about it. We're talking about it. We're talking about it. Somebody, one of y'all was going to say something that interrupted.
I was that we are talking. Oh, kind of go back to what you guys were talking about with finding the right professional, because other than that, I'm seeing.
So this Sylvie fault, y'all. I hopped up off the conversation, but she bringing it up, so now I'm gonna have to say something.
Hashtag I will not be silent.
No, that's right.
You know, so the other thing that I've been seeing is a lot of professionals, right, that are in the therapy space but are not licensed to provide therapy, you know, or serve in that capacity. So with COVID happening and us now talking about mental health and things like that, like in that space now, I'm seeing a lot of people who are coaches or mentors or consultants or, you know, different things like that now doing therapy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's a fine line between coaching and therapy. You guys,
100%.
And so I think that even as therapists, it's our job now, you know, with people talking about it more, to not be afraid to speak up and keep it real with what it, like, you know, what these different categories mean.
Yeah.
There's counseling, there's therapy, there's coaching, there's mentorship, and then there's everything else in between. You're consulting, right? Totally different. You know what I'm saying? And even when we're jumpstarting our journey to mental wellness, some people, it may not, in this season, it may not necessarily be therapy that I need, but more so coaching. So when people ask me, well, what's the difference between therapy and coaching? Well, with therapy, what I'm doing with you is we're going to talk about the past and how it's affecting your present. When we're talking about coaching, we're not digging into trauma. We're not digging into all that stuff. I'm not diagnosing you. We're not talking about medications. We're not doing all that stuff. When we're talking about coaching is, okay, where are you now? Where are you trying to be in the next 6 months, year to 2 years? Like, what's the plan of action? How am I going to hold you accountable? So we're doing more of that type of work, not necessarily digging up past traumas and figuring out how we're going to make your present good so you can have a better future. You get what I'm saying? Mentorship is not coaching either. I mean, can you coach and do that stuff in mentoring? No. So when people ask me, well, when should I get a mentor? Well, you know, if you're trying to be somewhere and there's someone that's there, then I'm gonna hit you up to, you know, seek some mentorship. Now, if you're gonna hit me up to seek some mentorship, don't think you're gonna come and just take. How are you of use to as a mentee? Like, you get what I'm saying? When we're talking about counseling, when people are like, well, what about therapy versus counseling? It's not necessarily therapy versus counseling. Counseling, you got financial counseling, you got marriage counseling, you got relationship counseling. Like, there's different brackets of counseling. So when we're jumpstarting our journey to mental wellness, we got to talk about those different things. And in this season of your life, which one should you pick or go under? You get what I'm saying? Right. So, but I am seeing a lot of coaches and different people providing therapy. And it's like, I'm not knocking y'all, but first of all, ethically it's not right, but you have to be trained to do the work, because just like a doctor's trained and went to school to do, you know, the body work, we went to school and got trained to do the mental, you know, work. So we're going to talk about it. We're not going to brush that one under the rug.
Yeah, I get accused a lot of having this conversation too much or whatever, but it's important to understand more than anything, right? This is where consultation comes into play. This is where you really doing your work to really figure out what is really going on with me. Because I've had people say like, okay, well, as Sylvie explained, coaching is like, okay, this is where you are. This is where I want to be. Coaching is about goal setting. A lot of respects, therapy is about goal setting. The difference is that there's some places that you're trying to get to that you need to get your mind right. And you need to get some root issues handled in order for you to get there. You will fail every single time trying to get to a place, trying to achieve a goal, trying to make something happen for yourself, and you still got that thing that you need to deal with. You still got those old behaviors you're still dealing with. That little boy inside, that little girl inside is still raging, because what's going to happen is you're going to do all this coaching, you're going to show up, and you're going to get to your goal, and then you're not going to be able to sustain yourself at that place because it's going to be too much pressure. It's going to be too much for you to handle, and you're going to fall, and you're going to fail at the point of achieving your goal. Listen, let's not get it twisted. I have some clients that do the therapy with me and they do the coaching. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with coaching. I'm about to step into the coaching space, right? But you have to know without a shadow of a doubt, 100%, what it is that you are dealing with and what it is that you need. A good coach will be able to say, I think you need to get some therapy. Because what's happening right now, we're digging in, and I'm about to say, I'm gonna get in trouble, y'all. I'm gonna lose some followers.
We're gonna get in trouble with you. Go ahead, girl.
So there's something called the trauma coach. I'm gonna get comfortable for this conversation. There's something called the trauma coach. I personally don't altogether understand what that is, because you can't coach trauma. You can't coach trauma out of a person. Sylvie just said coaching is taking you, figuring out where I want to be, setting my goals and moving forward. How are you doing that when trauma is deeply rooted and embedded in some other stuff? Here's the other side of it. We're trauma coaching, but you can't diagnose. And if you can't diagnose, that means you can't treat according to diagnosis. And so then what happens is you open up a world of stuff on the inside of people and have no idea on how to close that thing up. And so now people are walking around with open wounds. People are walking around with open wounds. We have to be careful. So here's what I know. And then I'm going to stop. But Sylvie started it. It's her fault. So here's what I know. What I know is there's so much. This conversation is so deep. You can't coach trauma out of a person. And okay, so here's what I want to say. When people are desperate, when people are hurting, and you're on here and you know this for yourself, when you are desperate, when you are hurting, when you're in pain, you are so desperate that you will jump onto whatever looks like it's about to offer you some signal of relief.
Yeah.
What I want to say to you today is please do your due diligence, do your research, and ask questions, right? If you're looking to possibly go into some coaching, it's okay to also pick up the phone and most therapists will do a 15-20 minute consultation with you so that you can get both sides of it and see where you fit on the coin. But we have to be careful. This is not everybody. I'm not talking about everybody, but I am talking about some people that will exploit your pain. They will exploit your trauma in order to make a buck. Now, here's the thing. People will say, well, therapists charge. You're absolutely right. But you're guaranteed to get some results with therapists. You're guaranteed that we're going to walk you through this journey. We're not going to drop you. We're going to dig in and do what we have to do with you, whatever the case is. And we're going to help you to cover that wound. We're going to help you to heal that wound. Yeah, there may be a little scar tissue, but remembering that scar tissue is just an indication that healing took place. That's what we do. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be careful. And so I want to talk to the listeners right now. Do your due diligence as you are considering jumpstarting your journey to mental wellness. Ask the questions. This is the one time where I'm going to say Google is okay. Google is okay to Google the difference. Finding some people finding some therapists that you can do consultations with or whatever the case is. And if you know that there's some deeper rooted issues that you have to do with, guess what? Y'all, it's okay to do both. It's okay to do both. There is many pathways to get you from A to B. There's many pathways towards your goal setting. You don't have to be stuck in one place, but just know the place that you're in and be careful and be very mindful. Because, one of the people that y'all love on TV, She out here saying she fixing people's life, but she has no credentials even as a coach. She is a spiritual advisor. Right? So anyway, because y'all gonna get mad if I say her name, because y'all always get mad at me because when I say her name, right? Because y'all like to fix the life, and it makes for great TV. But my thing is, we can't, real healing and real trauma is not rushing in for the quick weekend, and we just gonna go and snatch some edges real quick, and we're gonna this high intensity and emotionalism. That's re-traumatizing. Everybody can't handle that. Real healing, there are clients that I have had that it took us a year just to get to a place where they felt comfortable with even opening up with saying something. But guess what? That's what a therapist will do with you. We are patient to walk you through the journey, not to tell you you got 4 weeks to get from A to B.
Right.
Right. So that's it. This is Sylvie's fault. I just want y'all to know that, because I was minding my business. I wasn't going to go into this conversation, but she opened it up. Just know the difference.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. So jumping off of that, remember, if y'all have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, because I want to make sure that we get to your questions as well. We're going to be talking about specific things, but I want to make sure that we get to your questions. So what I'm going to actually do is skip one of the questions that I was going to ask you, and I'm going to go to the next one. And I want to kind of get into the conversation that, you know, there's this misconception that as mental health providers, we have it all together. Just last week, I was talking with a client who's in maintenance. You know, she comes monthly for maintenance or whatever. And she was like, "Can I ask you a question, Chanel?" I was like, "Absolutely." She was just like, "Do you got any problems?" She was like, "You give all of this great, like, you know, helping me to recognize my triggers and self-awareness. And, you know, when I feel like I'm losing it, you're able to help me to talk myself back into a place of calm or whatever." She was like, "What do you do? Like, are there any issues?" I'm like, "Girl, if you only knew." You know what I'm saying? We are human too. And what I found is a lot of I tell people all the time, and I say it on every live, I'm a therapist with a therapist, and there's no shame in it, right? Because we need to make sure that we're staying on top of our work and we're doing what we have to do. Be scared if your therapist hasn't gotten therapy. I'm not saying it's necessarily continual, but at some point, every therapist should have gotten some form of therapy or should have done their own work. We carry people's trauma with us. You know, for me, this is now what I do full time. And so I'm literally counseling like 6 hours a day. So 6 hours a day, times it by 4 times a week, right? Because, you know, I don't do no counseling on Fridays, but times it by 4 times a week, that's 24 hours in a week where I'm just holding trauma, holding space for people. That begins to wear down on you as a person. And so just interested in hearing, what has y'all personal journey with mental health been? What has been the personal struggle? What have you done to overcome? What is still the struggle, right? Because let's be real. It's still a struggle in many respects. So whoever wants to share on that aspect.
First of all, sometimes I'm in sessions, right? And I will say something or drop a gem, and I'll be like, "Hold on, boo, let me write that for myself." I'm gonna need to take my own advice on that.
There.
You know, or sometimes they'll like during session, like they're going through like a breakthrough, and I'm like, "Ooh, I feel like you counseling me. Look at you, honey, doing the work." You get what I'm saying? So like my clients know, look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like this perfect, because, you know, we all have something we're going through. You get what I'm saying? Like we all have, you know, things on our plate. And I think for me, my whole thing is like, first of all, I'm a mom of 4. I'm in school full time. I work at full time, trying to launch these businesses, and then you're holding space. And I do community mental health. Like y'all already know like what that's about, right? And then I had to hold space for people, right? And then sometimes you get to a point where you're especially like, you know, as a mom, managing everybody else, giving everybody else their space. And for me, like earlier this year, I was like, yeah, I just can't deal with this right now, because I don't have the time to like break down. I don't have the time to cry. I don't have the time to do all that, because I have to show up. Yeah, like in every aspect, I have to show up. I don't got the time. And then at one point, I'm convincing myself like, "Oh, I'm good." I ain't crying. I don't feel stressed. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Now, let me tell you, look, for me, I realized, okay, so you're really not good because the stuff that I was suppressing, thinking it wasn't there, was starting to manifest itself physically.
Come on.
At that point, and I knew it was a problem when, like, even a few months ago, and like doing community mental health, you're dealing with care managers, you're dealing with the families through COVID, all these kids that were going to school, taking refuge and getting food at school. This is like a place of refuge, now stuck at home with their abusers and the other abusers not eating. So you gotta say, so all this stuff is happening, diapers, and you're dealing with all of this, right? And then your own personal stuff. I knew it was an issue when my phone will start ringing and I'm literally like this. Literally, no lie, like this. Mom will call and I'm like, oh my God, my heart starts pounding. Or like I'll just sit there and I'm literally like this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh nah, it's starting to show itself physically. Like, even though I'm suppressing everything and I'm thinking, oh, you strong, you're a strong Black mom, you good, you're a strong Black woman, you good, you know what I'm saying? Your body will always let you know what's happening over here, right? Like your body will always let you know. So when that started happening, I was like, yeah, I need to take my mental health journey seriously or whatever. And my mom, even though she's not officially diagnosed, she has all the symptoms of anxiety. At this point, she shakes so much. Just a few weeks ago, she's asking me to like sign her checks, like, oh, write this for me or write that for me. She doesn't drive. You know what I'm saying? She had so much trauma from like back-to-back accidents, cars flipping over. She can't even do that. So when I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to feel like I look like her, I'm like, oh, see, now I can't. Nope. Now I have to start like, doing something about that.
Wow.
So for me, I knew like I have to now this is beyond maintenance. Like even now I'm like looking for a new therapist. Like now I gotta really dig in and all those things that I thought I was over or past traumas or things like that. Now I gotta go back and like revisit a lot of different things.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. You said something so pivotal. I was sharing it. She may be watching tonight. My mom may be watching tonight, but it's all right, mommy. I love you. But I just recognized with me that there were some things that I were going through, that there were certain things that we pick up from our upbringing and the people that were around us. And so even in that, I had to check myself on some of my reactions, because I noticed that some of my reactions weren't my own. I was reacting in ways because that's what I was used to. Like that's how they handle it. That's how they did it, until I got with a therapist who would call me out on that. Like, well, you said you didn't really have a connection with that situation like that. So why are you doing it?
Right.
And as we talk about it, I'm starting to realize, like, because that's what my mom would do. You know what I'm saying? Or that's what my dad would do. Or I noticed that's how my grandmother handled that situation or whatever. And so sometimes we do stuff that's not necessarily our own, and we carry stuff of other people. And so even if you don't have anything necessarily that, we think sometimes this therapy is that, you got to be going through some deep rooted, like there has to be some major trauma. No, it's not. Sometimes it's just like, I notice I react in a certain way whenever somebody say boo. And I need you to help me to figure out why I'm triggered by boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It could just be that, so recognizing those things as well. And so, Ambrial, how about for you? What has been your journey?
Well, that's a good segue, because that kind of is like, well, what like ended up leading me to getting therapy is realizing when I first got my LSW and I started working as a social worker, I realized that I was being like triggered by some of the things that people were saying. And like, I didn't realize it until I started getting therapy, that like I'm a people pleaser. I just thought it was my personality. Like, oh, I love being there for people. I like helping people. I just love, like being that go-to person that people come to when they need things, and always overbooking myself and always busy and always doing all of these things. And I just thought, that's just my personality. I'm just a really nice person. I just like to do these things. And then it wasn't until I got in therapy that I realized, you're a people pleaser. I realized, like, I knew before that I've always felt like I need to prove myself. Like, I always feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I need to do something else. I need to achieve something else. I need to do another training. I need to do another this. I need to accomplish something else because for some reason I'm trying to prove myself to people. And I think once I started working as a social worker and feeling like I'm never doing enough. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm trying. And for some reason, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm just constantly trying to do something else to show that I'm worthy or that I'm doing a good job. And that will lead to me, of course, feeling anxious all the time, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like I can't breathe. Like I'm just like heart palpitations. Like it's all these things, of course, start manifesting in a physical way because I'm now so anxious. I'm overthinking. I'm trying to control everything. When I don't feel like I'm in control, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what's going to happen next time, just like flipping out. So yeah, I decided that I needed to go to therapy. And then I realized, like, once I started talking to my therapist, she was like, that's not you. That's like you, a perfectionist. Like she would give names to the different things that I was going through. So it's like, that's the manager part of you. That's the perfectionist part of you. And one time I was like, first of all, don't come for me. Like, that's my personality. Don't try to say that that's like a little other person. Like, she's like, that's not your true self. And I was like, oh. And one time I was saying something, answering her in some way. And then she was just like, oh, I see the perfectionist stepping in. And I was like, first of all, no, this is me. What are you talking about? Like I was a little bit upset by that one, but she really helped me to just like realize, like you were saying, when you're saying sometimes the things that you're going through is from other people or you're picking up things from other people. One thing that was huge for me that I realized in therapy was sometimes your inner voice is things that other people have said to you in your life. So you are now taking on, they don't have to say these things to you anymore because now you're saying it to yourself. And so I'm telling myself, I'm not allowing myself to cry because I'm like, you look stupid. Why are you crying? Because somebody in my life has said, or made me feel bad for crying or for showing emotion, or just like different negative things that I would say to myself that I picked up from other people. And I was in therapy for a while and I thought that, it was going well. I was managing it, but I think it was more so that I was like managing my anxiety because I realized I wasn't really practicing all the stuff she was teaching me. Like I was just, oh, this is great. Then I would just, log off and then go about life and then come back the next week anxious, like, oh no, this thing happened. And then she would tell me the same thing and then I log off. And then earlier this year, I had like a health scare. And then I was just anxious. I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm all over the place, like just all over, so scared. And then I started like glorifying the past, kind of like I was anxious before and I didn't feel this way. I like everything was better before, and why am I feeling this way now? And then like even it's still here. Like I looked at one of my sticky notes that I had on my wall, and it was like, you are brave, you are enough, you are capable. And it was like 4 things, and I'm like, so were you good before? Like now you like in your mind, you thought that you were good before, but you really never were good. And then I realized like, okay, let me start practicing this stuff that this woman is telling me. I need to just like, get myself together, actually take some time, do what she told me to do the first time, all this whole time we've been talking. And it just really opened my eyes like, oh, this stuff works. I'm a whole therapist. Oh, this really, really
come on.
I know the journaling really worked, because I wasn't making no time for it. I was just filling my time with other stuff. But I feel like it helped me be a better therapist because now I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. I was telling her to do this. I didn't even know to do this myself, But yeah.
Yo, they're not ready for that conversation. They're not ready for that one. Because you said so much. You said a mouthful of just so much important and pivotal stuff. I think some people make the assumption sometimes, like kind of like I said earlier with my client who asked me, like, do you have problems? Do you ever go through anything? Because it just seemed like the reality is that we need people in our lives to check us as well. Because I don't care what your profession is, you're going to need somebody outside of you to be able to look into your life in the same way. Because guess what? Doctors get cancer too. Doctors have doctors too. They need somebody. They can't order their own blood work. At least I don't think they can. I'm assuming it goes right. They can't order their own blood work. I know they can't write their own prescriptions. Right. You're always going to need somebody in your life that can look at you, even as us as mental health professionals. And the reason why I like to have this conversation is because I think one of the ways that we destigmatize therapy and we make it more comfortable for people to receive therapy is to feel like the person I'm sitting with is human. If I feel like I'm sitting with someone and you're talking at me or you're talking down to me, it brings out, it takes away the humanity. But when I can have a real conversation, I can understand like, oh, you really do get it because you're human too. Maybe our issues are not the same, but I understand pain. I understand pain. I understand when you get to a point where it's just like I don't know what to do. Because if we don't, and so this is my bent. All right, I'm gonna switch hats for a second. I'm putting on Minister Chanel hat for a second, right? Because I'm a minister too. And so as a minister, what I also realize as well is that we're also dealing with another force, which is the enemy, right? And the enemy will try to convince people. He always wants to convince you that you're not good enough. He always wants to convince you that you are the only one in the world. His whole job is to try to isolate you, to think that nobody else in the absolute world understands what I'm going through, understands the pain that I'm going through, or whatever the case is. And the devil is a whole liar. What I tell people all the time is that the way relationship built is, I think it's cute. We have all these group bonding activities, and those are cute. Those are fun, or whatever the case is. That's not how bonds are built. That's not how relationship is built. Bonds and relationships are built over vulnerability. The V word that we don't like to talk about, we don't like to experience. If you really want to build bonds and relationship with people, it's because you're getting vulnerable with people, right? And so what happens is, and this is I think has evolved even in the field. In school we learn never self-disclose. Don't tell your clients nothing about you. And it brings out the humanity in the room. Now, here's the thing. I am not turning a you session into a me session. I'm not sitting here telling you, yeah, girl, my husband acting up too. Let me tell you, like, we're not doing that, right? But what I want to do is bring vulnerability into the room. Mm-hmm. I want to bring vulnerability into the room so you can feel like you're human. People are helped by people who they know are also human. This even comes from a spiritual level, right? If you have spiritual leaders and you feel like it's always just talking down to me or talking at me or whatever, and that they don't really get it, they don't really understand, it's hard to receive. But it's something different about a leader who is transparent. It's something different about a spiritual leader that will tell you, like, listen, y'all, this is what I struggle with this week. So I get it or whatever. I feel like you're human, right? Because then what happens is, and Ambrial said this a little bit earlier, what happens is then it creates this dynamic. Well, now you're trying to please me. You're trying to people please me because you just see me as this expert, but you also don't see me as human. So you're going to yes me to death. You're going to tell me, yep, I get it. Yes, I understand. And all of that. And I tell my clients right now, don't do that. You serve yourself. You're not doing anything for me by lying to me because you're trying to please me. You want to get help. And listen, I'm good for, if I get a client that's doing that, I'm discharging you.
Right.
I want to help people and I want to see your life get changed. But I also recognize and realize that I have to, in some respects, just a little bit, step into the room so that people feel comfortable. I don't even know how we got on this conversation of vulnerability. But
well, you know what? Let me chime in there too.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we think about, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot because schooling does tell you not to self-disclose. You have to, I'm not even going to get into.
Right. I already know. We already know.
I believe the race and the
already know.
Leave it alone with the profession. I'm not even going to go. I did enough tonight. However, when it comes to vulnerability and self-disclosure in the space that we create, the main thing I was thinking about is our people don't even want to do this. Our people, when I'm going into the homes to provide therapy, they think I'm the state. They think I'm diapers. Right. I'm against them. They think that you get what I'm saying.
Take your kids.
You get. I'm just here to take your kids. I'm actually here to help you. I'm here to do therapy. Therapy is not a word that is a common word in our community. Mm-hmm. So the way they may do therapy and the way they may have taught us to do therapy is great because we need some of that structure and some things like that. However, when we come with our people, they're not looking for you to be that professional.
100%.
don't want you in their home. They don't want you in their space. They don't want you in their business. You get what I'm saying?
Come on.
So we come in, and that's one of the reasons why for a long time, since I was in college, I was like, I feel like I could really be a therapist because since high school, I've been giving people advice. I've been trying to help people, But then when I got into like what therapy actually looks like, Freud and, these theories and that theory, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not here for that. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then when I got into the space, thank you, Chanel. When I got into the space and then I started doing it, this was me like, okay, well, maybe. And I'm like, they don't even want to be here. They don't even trust me or whatever. So now, like when they say, Sylvie, what kind of a therapist are you? Real personable. I'm gonna keep it real and funky. If you're looking for this type of therapist, I'm not her. If you're looking for someone that we're gonna talk, you know what I'm saying? You're not my girlfriend, but we're gonna talk. I'm real personable, and I bring that to the space because I know our people don't even want that in the first place. And I have a lot of Caribbean clients in the community. They definitely don't want you in it. Therapy, what? No, those are the spirits and the demons. What's therapy? Like, you get what I'm saying? So I go there like this when they're explaining certain things, like they don't even want to explain certain things. They don't even want to explain what's happening. And then, Caribbeans and, African Americans, Blacks, we have a lot of pride. It's perfect. So you're not going to come up in my space talking about what I'm doing wrong.
Right.
Talking about that. So when I come in, I get it. I got a 4-year-old too. Let me show you what she did. Let me show you what she did. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh wow, something real simple. Like just something that we have to have that vulnerability. Yeah. We have to me for the population we serve, it's crucial. It's very critical to have a little piece of that there.
Yeah.
Because for me, for some of y'all don't have a year to open up. I have a few weeks with you, and work and like healing work, all that stuff needs to happen in the next few weeks.
Come on.
We're gonna skip the formalities and get straight to it. And for me, my formula is that person being very personable and giving them some vulnerability and things like that, because from what I've seen, it's not gonna work the other way.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Even down to like facial expressions or even language. Like, I feel like if you're going to come in, you're going to use jargon, or you're going to try to use like, I don't want to say like big words, but like, like just certain language with people, it's not going to, you're not. And I feel that with my students too, even with I work as a school social worker as well. So like, even with my students, like when you're building the way to build relationship with people is just to show your personality. So I feel like even with clients and things like that, when I'm like, what? Sometimes like occasionally if I have to be like, oh wow, I can understand how that was, instead of like straight face, which I learned that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to make any facial expression. You're not supposed to do anything like that. But I find that helps you to build a better relationship when it's like we're actually able to have a conversation versus me trying to be this. I don't want to even say professional because it still is professionalism, but we can get into a whole other conversation on how professionalism even came about or who even created professionalism.
Because I said though it ain't, that's not professional. Who set the standard? Let me not. Okay.
Right.
No, facts though, because you definitely gonna get a sis in session. Okay. And I think, it brings up the conversation. So what we're talking about is representation, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about representation. And I think that that's another way where we break stigma. So I think another shift that has happened, especially in the Black community, is that Black therapists are arising.
Yes.
Black therapists are rising. And so what happens is I think there's more representation. And so now people do feel more comfortable because just the reality is we're naturally more comfortable with people who represent us, right? But I also want to have another conversation, right? Here's another conversation we got to have, guys. Just because you Black don't mean you representation.
Oh, hello.
Don't go there.
Oh, hello.
Because sometimes what happens is I have people who, because this is important. Let's have all sides of this conversation. I have people who are adamant, I want a Black therapist, I want a Black therapist. I know some Hispanic therapists, some white therapists, some Indian therapists, the therapists on a spectrum who do amazing work. And then I know some people who will try to go to a therapist who represents them, and they are not able to help them and bring them to where they need to be. Yes, representation matters, but still do your work and do your research, and don't continue to sit in front of somebody who really don't understand. Because sometimes what we do in the Black community is we try to take my experience, or we try to take one experience and we make it everybody's experience. Everybody's experience is not the same, right? And so when we talk about cultural competence, it's not enough just to say I'm Black.
Right.
That don't make you culturally competent, because you brought that up earlier. She has a lot of Caribbeans in her community. My Black experience can't necessarily speak to that experience. And if I'm not careful, I will offend that community of people because, I'm trying to be, I think because, I represent or whatever, we got the same skin color, whatever it is that you want to call it, that it's enough. That is not enough to claim cultural competence and to claim representation. So don't just jump on somebody's couch because they're Black. Don't just jump on somebody's couch because they're Haitian, because they're Hispanic, because they're white, or whatever the case is. I don't care what your situation is, right? And I do want to bring that to light. I'm all about representation. I really am. And understanding, I'm so grateful that our community is standing up and that we are finally doing our work, right? And there's a generation that says, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of the hurt. I want to see something change. But I also don't want us to dismiss some caregivers that could take us from A to B because we are caught up in trends. Hear me. Representation matters can also be a trend. And you could be missing out on your blessing, because I know some people who are sitting on wait lists and they can't get into therapy because it got to be a Black therapist, got to be a Black, got to be a Black. Well, does it? Because they may be able to help you as well, right? There's many sides to this conversation. I'm all about the representation or whatever, but mostly I'm about you getting your healing. I'm about you getting your help. And I'm about you understanding that my Black experience is not Sylvie's Black experience, is not Ambrial's Black experience, is not your Black experience. And this goes for the Hispanics and everything else. We have to be mindful to not just get caught up in trends. And that's what's happening with these memes and everything else. We get caught up in trends. Trends are not going to heal you.
No.
Trends are not going to get that little girl on the inside of you to stop raging. Trends are not going to get that little boy to be able to be at peace, right? Make sure that this whole conversation goes back to do your due diligence and do your research. And don't just assume because the person looks like me that they necessarily have all the tools to help me, because that may not. And don't assume because they don't look like me that they may not be able to help, right? We still got to do cultural competence work. I still do cultural competence training. Just because I'm Black doesn't automatically put I ain't no longer got to do I still do the trainings. I still get my CEs. I still sit in front because I want to make sure that whoever I sit in front, right? Because there's a certain thing of getting to what I call too sister girly. Way too sister girly, and that blurs the lines, right? You got to be careful. That blurs the lines. Now you thinking we friends, but we're not friends, and I'm your therapist, right? So there's so many aspects and sides to this conversation, which is why it's important that you do your work and you do your research and know who you're sitting in front of, and don't continue to sit in front of somebody who is not helping you, right? Because representation.
It's a level of comfort, which is not bad in the space. But don't let that keep you where you at.
Right.
Because doing the work is uncomfortable. It's like highly uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? That's why some people don't want to jumpstart their journey to mental wellness, because they're like, what am I going to do? Like, what does that look like?
Right.
What if I break down? That's the point of having.
Fine. Yep.
We're here in a dark tunnel and we're holding a flashlight for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is literally the point. But yeah, them trends can be really dangerous. Like, even for me, I'm Haitian American. I'm Black, right? I really cannot identify too much with the African American experience. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Because my experience is not as such. And even growing up, I'm gonna keep it real. In our community, on some level, like, my mom preferred me to marry a white man over an African American man. Like it was literally that deep because they this, they that. Then when you think about that generation, like when I know when my parents and a lot of those my mom's people in that generation, when they came to America, white people weren't, getting at them. It was black people. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now they have this idea like, oh, African Americans are this, African Americans are that. And then let's not even talk about how the media portrays African Americans. So now they're coming, and Haitians are mad prideful, coming to America, and is white people are treating you better. And I'm not even gonna talk about it. We already have a complex as Haitians about white people and them being our saviors. So forget coming to America, like, you get what I'm saying, and all of that. So growing up, I didn't identify with African Americans. As a matter of fact, in school, Caucasians were my best friends. The Puerto Ricans were my best friends. That group, they were my best friends. I had cultural shock going into high school because then a high school in Newark shut down. All those kids came to my school. It's, whoa, a lot of black people. Oh my God, they're talking like differently.
Real, y'all.
Why do you sound white? Like, you get what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, they ain't my people. Why are they being racist towards me? Like, this is real. So now as a therapist, like, you get what I'm saying? Now this is stuff that I have to kind of navigate through and do my own research and do my own training when it comes to cultural competency. So it's a whole thing.
It really gets deep, and I really want, if you're listening, I really want you to take away from this conversation that part of jumpstarting your journey to mental wellness is doing your due diligence. I'm gonna keep saying that. Make sure you do your due diligence. At the end of the day, you want to be sitting with somebody that can help you, no matter what that may look like, who they may look like, what their cultural background is from, or whatever the case is. There's nothing wrong with representation at the end of the day. So I don't want nobody to say that, Chanel saying representation don't matter. That's not what I'm saying at all. It absolutely matters. First of all, just to know that there's us in the space, that is enough by itself, to know that there's us in the space that's jumping in and doing this work, right? That's important, or whatever the case is. But I want you to get help. I don't want you to stay stuck. I don't want you to stay stuck and think, oh, because I'm just gonna be real, right? These are conversations that I've had. I've had consultations with someone who reached out for a consultation and was just like, I saw 3 Black therapists and it didn't work out. If it don't work out with you as a Black therapist, I'm never seeking therapy again. And that hurt my heart. And it's like, okay, then maybe could it be that you need somebody different in general? If it didn't work out with 3 of them, and then you want me to be the 4th? So needless to say, we can start therapy. But maybe you need somebody different in general, because let's talk about this, right? When we're talking about representation, this is really good. I have males who are seeking male counselors because I'm a man, so I want a Black man. Depending on what some of the root issues that you're dealing with, you may actually be better suited to sit before a woman. You can't handle a man. Or depending on, for women, depending on what some of the issues you're dealing with, you need to sit before a man and get therapy. You can't handle a woman. Or we can bring race into that. You're trying to sit before a Black person, but maybe the issues that you're dealing with, you're triggered by that. So you need to sit with somebody before a different race. Like, there's so many things to consider that we can't just hop on, hop on. Yes, representation matters, but also know what you need in that space, right? Because we talked about relationship, that makes a difference. I have had clients that I know that we could have done great work, but because I was a woman, it just wasn't it. I've had a client say, like, dag, if only you wasn't a woman, because I know you can help me. And what you're saying is, but I'm having a hard time in this space right now. I've had men who have come and just like, I'm so glad that you're a woman. I'm glad that you're not a man, or whatever the case is. This is easier for me to open up. I've had people of other races who have come to me. It's just like, yeah, I'm so happy because I think that you can help me. I just needed somebody completely outside of my purview, somebody who had a completely different experience. You have to understand that this thing runs deep. This thing runs deep. And so whatever it is that you need to be seeking that, right? And that may be outside of what representation looks like for you. So I'm gonna leave that there, because we'll be here all night. We really probably need to do like a part 2, 3, and 4. But anyway, which we probably will. So, y'all mark your calendars or whatever. You talked about your journeys, right? You talked about kind of what, your mental health journey look like for you? I'm just wondering, and Sylvie, you alluded to this a little bit, but just wondering really quickly, what was a turning point? Like, I can think about a turning point in my mental wellness journey, right? Like, I can think of a pivotal, and for me, and I've shared this far and wide, it's when I've had that miscarriage that turned into health scare, and I didn't know if I was gonna make it and all this other stuff, right? That was a pivotal moment for me, and recognizing, like, I think both of you said, like, Ambrial said, I thought I was good, and I was like, wait, I'm not good. I'm not what I thought I was, or whatever, because something finally happened to me and I wasn't able to control it. What was like a pivotal turning point for you, right? And then taking that, when you started your journey, how did it help you to get to your next level? I'm not going to necessarily say overcome, because listen, here's the reality. Some of us are still in the thick of it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get to it. But what helped you, and what change did you see in yourself personally and professionally? Because we're still professionals in this. Once you did jumpstart your journey.
You want to go, Ambi?
Oh yeah, I can go. So I kind of said it when I was like talking about my personal struggle, but the turning point for me was when I started working and I realized that I was like, getting super overwhelmed, and I was like, feeling like I needed to prove myself, and it wasn't working. Like, I feel like everything that I was trying was just not working, and it was overwhelming for me. And I was just like, I'm feeling super anxious. I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I need to get therapy. And it is very interesting too. I will say, as a mental health therapist, I felt real embarrassed too, because it took me a minute to get therapy, because the first thing I thought was, and I would have never thought this would have happened to me. The stigmas and the thoughts about therapy, I was like, is this me saying that there's something wrong with me? I'm supposed to be a helper, like, and so it was like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, Ambi, you are a social worker, and you are telling people to go get therapy, and now you're thinking maybe you need therapy, and it's like kind of like because I'm thinking, does that mean there's something wrong with me? And I was like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to get help for your feelings of anxiousness or whatever. So that was the thing that was like the turning point for me, where I just was feeling like I couldn't handle how overwhelmed I was, and just wondering, like, why is it that I feel this way? Like, why am I feeling like I'm never good enough? And so that was my first turning point. And then it was the health scare, when I realized, okay, I was already in therapy, but I was grateful that I was, because I was going to my biweekly sessions already. And so when this hit me, I think I was maybe at monthly at that point or something. So I was able to go back to biweekly and get the support that I needed, because the support was already there and the groundwork was already there. So it was already helpful for me to get back into that, once I realized, okay, like, I'm not doing something that I'm supposed to be doing. But I feel like how it has helped me is that it's really helped me to understand my thought patterns, and understand why I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking, knowing where it stems from, understanding just like knowing where it's coming from, and then knowing what to do. So maybe in the moment when it hits me, I might be like, oh no, I'm having this feeling, but it's only for like a split second, because then I can tell myself, okay, you know what to do. This is what you do. This is the thing that you do to beat that feeling that you're having. Or the feelings don't last as long, because I feel like I'm prepared. Like, I have a toolbox and I have things to pull from when I am feeling that way. So and then it's a lot comes from understanding, because when you know where something is coming from, then you're like, oh, okay, that's what that is. Oh, okay, that's what that is. Instead of you being like, oh my God, like feeling so overwhelmed and letting it consume you, and just feeling like you just have no clue where to go, what to do. Yeah, just having that understanding, and then having your toolbox to pull from.
Sylvie, before you go, really quick, thank you for sharing that openly and honestly. Listen, y'all, what you heard was, we get it. Like, we truly get it. We understand where you are, and this is why I like to have these conversations, so that we understand how y'all feel with the stigma. We understand, the thoughts and stuff that comes up when it comes to jumpstarting your journey or seeking therapy. You're not in it alone, but we're gonna use our humanity and our experiences to be able to help you. And I also wanted to bring up, something you said. It reminded me of Brene Brown. I don't know if you guys know who Brene Brown is, but I love me some Brene. I love her. And one of the things she says is that a therapist that won't seek therapy is judging their clients.
Yes.
A therapist who won't seek therapy is judging their clients, right? And so when you were talking, it kind of reminded me of that. Like if for nothing else, we have a responsibility to do our work simply so that we're not being judgmental towards our clients when they're trying to do their work, right? Because then that creates a power dynamic, right? That this dynamic where I know more than you, I'm the authority in the room. When the reality is, I'm not an authority on nothing or whatever the case is, because you are the authority on your life. And at the end of the day, you have to choose what's best for you. I'm gonna get in this passenger seat and we're gonna navigate this thing together. So, but thank you for sharing that. That is really, really good. And I really hope y'all hear that and y'all hearing these nuggets. We get it. Sylvie, go ahead.
Yeah, just kind of piggyback on Ambrial, like the stigma also, like, oh my God, something's wrong with me, I have to do therapy. So does that mean I'm a good therapist? If
Come on.
Like that right there itself can make you feel like, oh, I'm not gonna even confront it, because if I do, then that means I'm not a good therapist because I need therapy. You get what I'm saying? But it's just like what you're saying, just confronting that human, like we're human as well. We get it, and then we're holding space for other people to share, what they're going through and helping them in that space. The other thing for me, besides the physical implications of that, was just like me being short with the kids, like really short. And I, the other thing like that really made me realize, like, yeah, you're overwhelmed and you need to decompress, was like if the kids aren't here and I'm finally like, yes, at the computer, I can get all this work done. And then at the end of the day, I ain't get one thing done. And it's like, yo, can't blame it on them.
It's real.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's too much. It's too much. So to be completely transparent in this season of my life, there's like a few things. I was like, I'm about to be 36 in January. I was like, I'm not entering 36 with certain things. It's the last quarter of the year. So there's a few things that I want to work on. And guess what? I'm going to work on it all together now, right? So aside from the mental like journey, I got myself a wellness coach.
Come on.
For the 3-month program. And guess what? She's Caucasian and I love her. I love her. Right? Because my physical right now is something that's affecting the mental. Like for me, you get what I'm saying? Like, and even within that coaching program, it's like really digging in my relationship with food. Why would you get so emotional? You go keep eating all this stuff that you don't even want to eat in the first place. Like, things like that. And then realizing it's deeper than just the emotional part. It's like what you were saying before, is the control. Feeling like everything on the outside is chaotic and this is the one thing that I have control of. And it gives me like much pleasure. But it's still impacting my body, which is then still impacting my mind, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I was like, that's impacting me mentally is just not being okay where I'm at business wise and just feeling stuck, right? Because one of the things when people come to me for therapy, that they think, oh my God, I'm depressed, I'm this and that. And it's like, people are coming in with depressive symptoms, and the issue is not necessarily depression, but depression is a manifestation of them not being fulfilled, not living out their purpose, or just straight up being stagnant. So a lot of times in therapy, it's like, well, once we develop a plan of action of, okay, what are your goals? Like, what do you actually really want to do? Not what your mom said, not what society's telling you, not what you have to do because you have to, make money, but what do you really want to do? Once we address that, it's like the next week, yeah, I'm good, I've been working on that thing. And it's like, what happened to the depressive symptoms, right? And helping them do the work, I'm realizing, that's you too. Like, you feeling some type of way because some of the goals that you had, you're not stepping into it because of the spirit of fear, right? And then realizing that fear is not just a word, but it's an actual spirit. Like, it's really like
100%.
It like overcomes you. It's like just sucks like the hope, joy, like energy, like all of that out of you. So for me, when I realized so the thing that you actually want to do, you're technically helping people do it for free. Like, you going too far with this fear thing, right? Because now you're allowing it to overtake you. But you may not get over it, but you can overcome it. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like, okay, I got my wellness coach, got my therapist, and now I have my success/business coach. So I entered it right into a coaching program because I realized a lot of the stuff wasn't like trauma and stuff. It was just straight up mindset. Just literally just shifting my mindset about how I think about things, how I like tackling fear, you get what I'm saying, and just doing it, just going. And that to me in this season, that's what I needed. You get what I'm saying? That's literally what I needed. So now as I'm developing this thing and pivoting, then I know now, okay, search for a therapist because as this thing grows, and you have more weight on your shoulder, let's make sure you have the mental capacity to bear that weight.
Come on.
That makes sense. So now I know next season, which is like in the next month or two, I'm gonna go right back into like really doing this, like really having that's why I'm seeking a different therapist because the goal is different. You know, the capacity is different. I need some, something different, just to hone in a little bit more than what I've done before.
Yeah. This is good stuff, ladies. I'm not going to reiterate too much just because the hour is getting late and I don't want to keep the people for too long, but I hope that y'all heard tonight. I named it Candid Conversations, right? That was on purpose because there's a lot that goes into this jumpstarting your journey to mental wellness. For us personally, making sure that you're seeking the right professional for what it is. One of the things Sylvie said that I love that she mentioned, listen, she has a therapist and she has her coaches. So we weren't sitting here trying to say, don't do coaching. Like I said, she's a coach. It's a space that I'm entering or whatever the case is, but putting everything in its proper perspective. Putting everything in its proper perspective. I'm going to do the healing trauma work and I'm going to do this goal setting and we're going to get these goals popping, right? And so just make sure that as you're jump starting your journey to mental wellness, or even as you're considering, make sure you do your due diligence. I told you I was going to keep bringing that back to y'all. Do your due diligence. Don't pass up on something that could possibly be absolutely amazing for you or whatever the case is, because it comes in a certain package and that wasn't the package that you was expecting it in. And what I want y'all to do is make sure that you get serious about your life. You get serious about your journeys. A lot of us are out here, especially in this last year or so, right? Everybody, like entrepreneurship is just like on a whole other level. Everybody is into spaces and they're doing their own thing. Make sure that when you get to the level, when you achieve your business or whatever the case is, make sure that you are emotionally and that you are mentally stable and well enough that you're able to sustain the place that you are in. Business is hard. Goals are hard. Marriage is hard. Being single is hard. Being a mom is hard. Not being a mom is hard. Like, life is hard, y'all, and it's okay to get the help that you need. And I hope that over these last 6 weeks or so that y'all really heard my heart behind this series and understanding that life is hard, but there is help. Life is hard, but there is help. You don't have to continue to do what you've always done. You don't have to continue to sit on the sidelines and watch life happen to you. No, it is time to get off the bench and it's time to get into the game. You've been in that place long enough. You've been dealing with that issue long enough. You've been struggling with that mindset long enough, right? You've been dealing with that little girl, that little boy on the inside of you that's raging long enough. That's it. Time out. Let us jump up. Let us get up. Let us do the work that we have to do so we can be well. I don't know about you, but I want to be well. I want to be well. I want to be good. Like when I become and achieve all that God has called me to be, I want to be well. Here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that life is still not going to happen. I'm not saying that something is not going to pop up later on. You know what I'm saying? That I may have to find myself back in therapy for, that I may have to deal with, that has knocked me for a loop, because that's life. But when I do my work, I will at least have a certain level of management ability. I'll have a certain level of coping ability so that I won't fall apart, right? And so now I'm not starting from the ground floor. I can at least start from, that stung. All right, let me go and do my work, because we are human. So stuff is still going to happen. I tell my clients all the time. I have clients who graduate from therapy and I say, listen, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. And life is still going to happen. That does not mean that you are not healed, that you're not in a better place, that you haven't learned coping skills. It does not mean that. It means that, as I heard somebody once say, life is rude and disrespectful. And so that we have to continuously learn to deal with life. But make sure that you are doing everything that you can to jumpstart your journey to mental wellness. So I hope that this series was good for y'all. Before we hop off tonight, I am super excited. The cat is out the bag. I told y'all that I have entered the coaching space. I get a lot of questions, especially from people that I may not have personal relationship with, but as therapists, we're under ethics, right? And so we can't necessarily counsel those that we know or have close relationship with. And so, but I get a lot of people that I know that I could help in more of a coaching capacity. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all really quickly. I am so super stinking, if you will, excited. Where's that? So you know how, when you try and do something, you're looking for something, it just don't work out when you need it to work out. Yeah, this is one of those moments right there. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna share my screen now. I'm super excited. The Lord has blessed me to finally, the cat is out the bag, to launch the Jumpstart Your Journey to Mental Wellness. This is the Jumpstart Intensive, y'all. I am super excited. This is my coaching program that I am launching in order to answer this. Here's what I recognize. Not everybody is ready for counseling. Not everybody is ready for that space. And we talked a lot tonight about doing consultation, about doing your due diligence to figure out what it is that you need. The Jumpstart Intensive is your answer. Listen, I'm so excited because with this program, as it says, so we're going to kick off in January, which is the perfect time to kick off, right? We all have these New Year's resolutions. We're doing resolutions different. In 2022, we're actually going to achieve goals. So it's a 4-week intensive program. It's intensive on purpose. It is a 4-week intensive program. You're going to get a copy of my Jumpstart journal. I've already written that. That's already been out there. I'm revamping that, so you'll get a copy of that. I am also almost finished and super excited. I will be launching the cat's out the bag. I am writing my first book, which is going to be the Jumpstart Your Journey to Mental Wellness book. And I'm almost done. So you're going to get a copy of that book. You also get weekly live instruction and coaching from me. You're going to get access to a private Facebook group where we're going to have weekly encouragement. I'm going to be doing this with y'all. I'm going to be answering questions. We're going to build a community of people who are also trying to jumpstart their journey to mental wellness. And listen, and more bonuses. I can't even tell y'all all the bonuses, right? Because you got to be a part of this program to get it. Here's what I love about this, and here's what I'm telling people about this. This is not therapy. It is a coaching program. The benefit of it is you're getting coaching by a therapist, though.
Yes.
So I'm not your therapist, but you're getting coaching by a therapist. So I'm going to be able to bring all of that into the room to be able to help you. Here's my guarantee with this program. After 4 weeks of intensive live instruction, you're going to have assignments. I am guaranteeing we're going to do some goal setting together. I'm guaranteeing that by the end of the 4 weeks, you are going to achieve one of your goals.
Yes.
It's a guarantee from this program, right? And we are talking from the mental emotional space. We're going to do some processing. We're going to talk about coping. We're going to talk about thought challenging. We're going to talk about emotional challenging. We're going to talk about your support system. We're going to talk about your destructive and constructive coping habits. We're going to talk about processing your story and understanding what your story is. We're going to do some goal setting. Listen, y'all, I'm trying to tell you that there is so much that this program is going to offer you. It is not therapy. And so if you're intimidated by the therapy space, if you're not sure where you need to start, the reason why this program is called the Jumpstart Intensive, because the goal is when you come out of this program, you're going to be able to decipher whether I need more coaching, whether I need to go into therapy. And you're going to, if you decide to walk into therapy, you're going to walk into therapy already with a plan. Because you're going to already have done some processing. You're already going to have looked at your story. You're going to understand your coping habits. So listen, your therapist is going to be like, yo, right? You're going to be a therapist dream from this program. I'm super excited. What I love about this program is because it's not a therapy program, because I will not be acting as your therapist, but your coach. Anybody can join. And it doesn't matter where you live. Right now, as a therapist, I can only counsel you. I can only do therapy if you're located in New Jersey. With this program, it does not matter where you live. You can live in Antarctica, okay? And if you want to be a part of this program, you have access to be a part of it. Even if you may know me from other circles or whatever, and in the therapeutic realm, I can't necessarily counsel you. I can be your coach. I am so excited to officially announce myself as the Jumpstart coach. I want to help you to jumpstart your journey to mental wellness. So listen, I am only accepting 20 spots for this program. That is it. I am only accepting 20 spots for this program. I'm not making it a big group because I want to make sure that the people that come in, I am really able to help you. So I'm only accepting 20 spots. Enrollment opens on Black Friday. And understand, Black Friday's price is not going to be
Monday price.
Friday's price, right? Because understanding there's a lot of bonuses that you're getting. There's a lot that you're getting, and this is still going to come out cheaper. What I like to tell people is that this program I created is probably like your first like 6 to 7 counseling sessions. And what I'm charging for this program is going to be even cheaper than that. Okay, this is going to be an absolute steal, but we open on Black Friday. I encourage you to sign up on Black Friday. I'm going to be letting y'all know what bonuses I'm rolling out on Black Friday, because after Black Friday, some of those bonuses are being taken away. So you want to make sure that you get in on the introductory price. And listen, if we sell out on Black Friday, we sell out on Black Friday. It is what it is. But this is an opportunity to help y'all to jumpstart your journey to mental wellness. So stay tuned. If you are watching tonight and you are interested, I want you to go over to Instagram. I want you to go over to Facebook, and I want you to inbox me right now. On Instagram, you can find me at Oasis Wellness Group, all one word, OASISWELLNESSGROUP. Oasis Wellness Group, or you can find me on Facebook at Oasis Wellness Group. I want you to inbox me right now and say, save me a spot. Inbox me right now and tell me to save me a spot, and I'll make sure that you get that Black Friday introductory price. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the sign-up form before anybody else, right? You're going to get it before anybody else does, along with my email list, before I go ahead and launch it to the world. But what I'm saying is that people are going to jump on this program. And if you've been watching for the last couple of weeks and you know it's time to jumpstart your journey to mental wellness, there's a lot of y'all out there that's been trying to get in with therapy with me and haven't been able to. Listen, I can't be your therapist, but I can be your coach. And so I'm so excited. And so listen, make sure y'all jump on it. Inbox me right now. Let me know that you're interested. And I'm going to make sure that you get one of them. I'm going to make sure you get one of the introductory spots. I promise you, I can't, and I know I'm not saying this arrogantly to any of y'all, but I promise you this program is going to be life-changing.
It is.
It is going to be life-changing. And I want to be able to help as many people as I can. I'm limited as a therapist, but I have so much more capacity as a coach. So make sure that you jump on board. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Go ahead and inbox me right now. I kept y'all on here long enough, but I'm super excited to be able to launch this program and to get y'all on board. And listen, here's the thing. Y'all know some people, y'all looking for Christmas gifts? You know some people who need to get, we will spend $500 on a PS5 for that person, for them to sit down, but their mind ain't right and they got some stuff they need to do. Listen, this could be a Christmas gift. Maybe you know somebody and you're like, listen, I want to gift you some four intensive weeks of coaching so that you can get your mind right or whatever, so you can jumpstart your journey. So I'm going to be talking about all of that. But if you know that you are that person and you need one of these spots, inbox me now, because once I put this out to the world, them spots are not going to last. I'm only at 20 people. I'm cutting it off. So if you was 20 and you came 21 and a half, whatever, I'm cutting it off at that, because I want to make sure that everybody who's a part of that program gets the best of me. So that's enough of that. I'm excited to be able to launch it, but I also want to say thank you to my ladies. Thank you, Ambrial. Thank you, Sylvie, so much. I see you, Yvonne. I'm going to save you a spot. Make sure you go ahead and you please go ahead and inbox me as well. But thank you, ladies, so much for being on tonight. Listen, y'all, this is my team, and I keep saying it, and I'm so grateful for them. And every time I get a chance to do this publicly, I'm going to do it publicly. I'm grateful for these ladies that they wanted to work with me, y'all. They wanted to be a part of us.
Right. I was like, you want me?
They wanted to be a part of the vision that God put on the inside of my heart. And here's what I'm gonna say. This is a different live. Team matters. The things we talk about tonight, the reason why I asked them to be a part of this vision, because I know their hearts. I know their hearts. I'm a tough cookie to hire. Okay. There's a lot of people who have come to me. And as y'all can see, it's still the three of us. So, but thank you, ladies, so much for pouring out and for being a part of this with me tonight. I hope that y'all were blessed tonight. I hope y'all got something out of this. I'm sad to see the Jumpstart series go, but you never know. We may revamp it. We may have some new speakers on so that we can continue the conversation. But thank you all so much. I hope that everybody was blessed and that you guys have an awesome, amazing night, and happy Thanksgiving. Eat until your heart's content. Enjoy. Remember, calories don't count on Thanksgiving. Like, they just don't count. So enjoy, and I will be back with you guys soon. But until then, have an amazing day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.